Captain Lee Dong-ho stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Station, watching three strange ships drift toward them. The ships looked broken and old. Smoke came from their engines, and their metal hulls had deep scratches and holes. These were not the clean, powerful ships that usually visited Earth. "Sir, they are sending messages," said his officer. "The computer is trying to understand their language." Lee Dong-ho nodded. In his 20 years of service, he had never seen ships like these. Earth had met other alien races before, but they usually came in shiny vessels with perfect technology. These ships looked like they had been running from something terrible. The translation system finally worked. A weak voice came through the speakers. "Please help us. We have nowhere else to go. Our fuel is almost gone. We have children and old ones who are dying." Lee Dong-ho felt his heart grow heavy. He had heard desperate voices before, but this was different. These beings sounded truly lost. "This is Captain Lee Dong-ho of Earth Defense Force. Who are you, and why have you come to our system?" The voice answered quickly. "I am Kale Nethys. We are refugees. The galaxy threw us out. We heard that humans are different, that you help those who have no home." On another screen, Ambassador Park Ji-na appeared. She was in her office on Earth, but her face showed worry. "Captain Lee, I'm watching everything. Do not let them get closer until we know more." Lee Dong-ho understood her caution. Earth had learned to be careful with aliens. Some were friends, but others brought trouble. "Kale Nethys, why did the galaxy throw you out?" Lee Dong-ho asked. There was a long pause. Then another voice spoke, softer and sadder. "I am Zira Voss. We refuse to kill innocent people. The Galactic Confederation wanted us to destroy worlds with young races. We said no, so they marked us as criminals." Park Ji-na's eyes grew wide. "Captain, are you hearing this?" Lee Dong-ho was hearing it, but he could hardly believe it. The Galactic Confederation had always seemed powerful and organized. Earth was still new to galactic politics, so they mostly stayed out of big decisions. But if these aliens were telling the truth, the galaxy was not what it seemed. Commander Kim Tae-won walked onto the bridge. He was young but smart, and Lee Dong-ho trusted his judgment. "Sir, our scans show the ships have 3 different alien races. We count about 2,000 beings total. Many are hurt or sick. 3 races working together?" Lee Dong-ho asked. "Yes, sir. Our computers recognize them from old databases. The Netherians are warriors. The Vossians are scientists. The 3rd race, we are not sure. They seem to be made of energy, not flesh like us." Ambassador Park Ji-na spoke from her screen. "Captain, I need to call an emergency meeting with the Global Council. These refugees could bring war to our door, but if they are telling the truth about genocide..." She did not finish, but Lee Dong-ho understood. Earth had its own dark history with genocide. Every human leader learned about the terrible things people had done to each other in the past. The idea that aliens might be doing the same thing in space made him feel sick. "Kale Nethys, Zira Voss, can you tell us more about what happened?" Lee Dong-ho asked. Kale Nethys spoke first. His voice was strong but tired. "My people are warriors. We fight with honor, but the Confederation wanted us to attack worlds with no weapons, to kill beings who had just learned to use fire. We could not do this." Zira Voss added, "My people love knowledge and peace. When we learned the Confederation's true plan, we tried to warn the young races. They called us traitors." A third voice joined them, strange and musical. "We are the Luminals. We speak across the stars. We heard the cries of the dying worlds. We could not stay silent." Lee Dong-ho looked at Commander Kim Tae-won. The young officer's face was angry. "Sir, if this is true, then the galaxy has been lying to everyone." "I know," Lee Dong-ho said quietly. "Ambassador Park, what does Earth law say about refugees?" Park Ji-na was already reading from her tablet. "If beings ask for protection from persecution, we must consider their request. But Captain, this could mean war with the Confederation." Lee Dong-ho thought about his daughter back on Earth. She was only 10 years old. He wanted her to grow up in a safe world, but he also wanted her to grow up in a world where people did the right thing. "Let me speak to them directly," he said. The alien voices waited as Lee Dong-ho chose his words carefully. "I am just a ship captain. I cannot promise you safety, but I can promise you this: Earth will listen to your story. We will decide based on what is right, not what is easy." "Thank you," Zira Voss whispered. "That is more hope than we have had in months." "Follow our ships to the outer station," Lee Dong-ho ordered. "We will give you food and medicine while our leaders decide." As the refugee ships slowly followed the Earth vessels, Commander Kim Tae-won stood beside his captain. Sir, do you think we are making the right choice? Li Dongho watched the broken ship struggling to keep up. Inside those hulls were beings who had given up everything to stand against murder. They had lost their homes, their safety, and their place in the galaxy because they refused to kill innocents. Kim, my grandfather used to tell me stories about World War II. He said the bravest people were not the ones who won battles. They were the ones who hid refugees in their homes even when it meant death. And now we might be hiding refugees from an entire galaxy, Kim Tae-won said. Yes, Li Dongho replied. And if that makes us criminals in their eyes, then maybe we are proud to be criminals. 3 days later, Ambassador Park Gina stood before the Global Council on Earth. Representatives from every nation watched as she presented the refugees' case. The debate lasted for hours. Some leaders feared war, others worried about resources. But in the end, the vote was clear. Earth would offer sanctuary to the outcasts of the galaxy. When the news reached the refugee ships, there was crying and celebration. For the first time in months, they had hope. They had found a world that valued courage over comfort and justice over safety. But in the depths of space, other eyes were watching. The Galactic Confederation had not forgotten about their escaped criminals, and they were not pleased to learn that a small young world called Earth had decided to protect them. 6 months had passed since the refugee ships arrived at Earth. The 3 alien races now lived in special stations built around the moon. Dr. Yoon So-young walked through the science labs every morning, amazed by what she saw. The Vossians worked quietly at their energy experiments. Their gray skin glowed softly when they concentrated, and their large black eyes never seemed to blink. They had taught her things about power and energy that human science had never imagined. In the next room, Netherian engineers hammered at metal with tools that looked like art pieces. Their blue skin was covered in natural armor, and their forearms moved with perfect coordination. Even their smallest children could bend steel with their bare hands. The luminals were the strangest of all. They looked like floating lights in human-shaped containers made of crystal. When they spoke, their voices sounded like music mixed with wind chimes. They could talk to people on the other side of the galaxy instantly without any machines. Dr. Yoon, come see this, called Zira Voss from her workstation. The Vossian scientist had become like a sister to her over the past months. Yoon So-young hurried over. On the table was a small device that hummed with power. What does it do? Watch, Zira Voss said. She touched the device, and suddenly the lights in the room became brighter. The computers worked faster. Even the air felt different, cleaner somehow. This is impossible, Yoon So-young whispered. You are creating energy from nothing. Not from nothing, Zira Voss explained. We are borrowing it from the space between atoms. Humans never learned this because your science went a different path, but together we can do amazing things. In another part of the station, Commander Kim Tae-won was training with young Netherian warriors. His body ached from the exercise, but he pushed himself to keep up. The Netherians did not make fun of his weakness. Instead, they taught him how to be stronger. Jackson Keth was the youngest Netherian warrior, barely an adult by his people's standards. His family had died in the escape from their homeworld, and now he had no clan to belong to. Kim Tae-won had taken the young alien under his protection, something that surprised everyone. Commander, your form is getting better, Jackson Keth said in broken English. His voice was deep and rumbling, like distant thunder. You are a good teacher, Kim Tae-won replied, but I still cannot lift as much as your little sister. Jackson Keth laughed, a sound like rocks falling down a mountain. Human strength is different. You do not give up. That is better than lifting heavy things. Their friendship had grown slowly. At first, Jackson Keth had been angry and sad. He wanted to fight someone to get revenge for his lost family. But Kim Tae-won had shown him that revenge would not bring back the dead. Instead, they could work together to protect the living. Commander, can I ask you something? Jackson Keth said as they rested between exercises. Of course. Why did Earth help us? Your people do not know us. We might bring trouble to your world. Kim Tae-won thought about this question. He had asked himself the same thing many times. Because it was the right thing to do. Sometimes that is reason enough. Meanwhile, in space around Earth, Admiral Cho Byung-soo watched the Galactic Confederation fleet through his telescope. 20 huge warships waited just outside the solar system, like wolves watching a farm. They had been there for 2 months, not attacking but not leaving either. Admiral, we have a message from their leader, His communications officer reported. "Put it through," Admiral Cho Byung-soo said. A cold alien voice filled the room. "This is Fleet Commander Vel Therian of the Galactic Confederation. You have 72 hours to surrender the criminals you are hiding. If you refuse, we will take them by force." The same message had come every week for months. Admiral Cho Byung-soo always gave the same answer. "This is Admiral Cho Byung-soo of Earth Defense Force. The beings under our protection are not criminals. They are heroes who refuse to commit genocide. Earth will not surrender them. Then you choose war, human. Your small world cannot stand against the power of the galaxy." Admiral Cho Byung-soo smiled grimly. "We will see about that." The truth was that Earth's military was much stronger now than it had been 6 months ago. Working with the refugees had taught them incredible things. Netherian metal was harder than anything humans had ever made. Vossian energy systems could power weapons beyond human imagination, and luminal communication meant their ships could coordinate perfectly, even across vast distances. Dr. Yoon So-young had made the most important discovery. By combining human engineering with alien science, they could build ships that were faster and stronger than anything the Confederation had ever seen. The first test ship had traveled to Pluto and back in less than an hour. "Admiral," she had told him last week, "if we have 6 more months, we can build a fleet that will surprise everyone." But they might not have 6 months. The Confederation was getting impatient. In the luminal section of the station, a being called Lyra Nim spoke with President Na Hye-jin through a video link. Lyra Nim's crystal body sparkled like a prism in sunlight as she shared troubling news. "The Confederation is calling for more ships," Lyra Nim said, her voice like singing crystals. "They do not expect Earth to fight back. They think humans are weak and afraid." President Na Hye-jin leaned forward in her chair. "What do you think, Lyra Nim?" "I think they do not understand humans very well," the luminal replied. "My people have watched your species for many years. You are young and small, but you have something the Confederation has forgotten." "What is that?" "You still remember how to hope." That evening, Commander Kim Tae-won gathered with his new friends in the station's common area. Dr. Yoon So-young showed them her latest invention, a translator that could turn thoughts into words in any language. Zira Voss shared news from her experiments with faster-than-light travel. Jackson Keth talked about the new fighting techniques he was learning from human martial artists. For a few hours, they forgot about the warships waiting in space. They were just friends sharing discoveries and dreams, but their peace was interrupted when Admiral Cho Byung-soo's face appeared on every screen in the station. "Attention all personnel," he said. "The Confederation has sent us an ultimatum. They demand we surrender our alien friends within 24 hours or they will attack." The room fell silent. Dr. Yoon So-young felt her heart racing. Jackson Keth's hands curled into fists. Zira Voss's skin flickered with nervous energy. "However," Admiral Cho Byung-soo continued, "President Na Hye-jin has given them our answer. Earth does not abandon its friends. We stand together, or we fall together." Cheers erupted throughout the station. Humans and aliens hugged each other, their fear turning into determination. Later that night, Kim Tae-won stood with Jackson Keth on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. "Commander, are you afraid?" the young Netherian asked. Kim Tae-won nodded honestly. "Yes, I am afraid. But I am also proud. 6 months ago, we were strangers. Now we are family. That is worth fighting for." Jackson Keth placed one of his massive hands on Kim Tae-won's shoulder. "Then we fight together, brother." In the distance, the Confederation fleet began to move toward Earth. The battle for humanity's future was about to begin. The Confederation fleet stopped just outside Earth's moon. Their ships were massive, each one larger than Earth's biggest cities. General Han Woo-jin stood in the main command center, watching the enemy vessels through powerful telescopes. His face was calm, but his hands shook slightly as he held his coffee cup. "General, they are sending another message," reported his aide. "Put it through," General Han Woo-jin said. The voice that came through the speakers was different this time, cold and proud like someone used to being obeyed without question. "I am Admiral Zek Morvain, Supreme Commander of the Confederation 4th Fleet. This is your final warning, humans. Give us the criminals or watch your world burn." General Han Woo-jin picked up the microphone. "This is General Han Woo-jin of Earth's Combined Defense Forces. We have told you before, these beings are not criminals. They are refugees seeking protection from genocide. Admiral Zek Morvain laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Genocide? Foolish human, you understand nothing. We do not commit genocide. We perform necessary evolution. Weak species must die so strong ones can grow. The words hit General Han Woo-jin like a physical blow. What did you say? The galaxy is too crowded with inferior races. They waste resources and space that could be used by superior beings. The Confederation has spent centuries cleaning up this mess. We have removed over 200 useless species from existence. In the science section of the moon station, Dr. Yoon So-young felt sick to her stomach as she listened to the broadcast. Elder Vos Kirin, the oldest of the Vosian refugees, sat beside her with tears running down his gray face. It is true, the ancient alien whispered. Every word is true. Tell me, Dr. Yoon So-young said softly. Elder Vos Kirin's voice was heavy with pain. My people lived on a peaceful world for thousands of years. We studied the stars and shared knowledge with young races. Then the Confederation came to us with an offer. He paused, his large black eyes staring at memories too terrible to forget. They said we could join them and become part of something greater. All we had to do was help them identify worlds with limited potential. We thought they meant worlds that could not develop technology or space travel. But that was not what they meant, Dr. Yoon So-young said. No. They wanted us to find races that would never become as strong as them. Races that loved art more than war. Races that cared for their old and sick instead of abandoning them. Races that would rather grow food than build weapons. Elder Vos Kirin stood up and walked to the window, looking out at Earth's blue surface. When we realized what they were doing, we tried to stop helping them. They told us we could either continue the work or be marked as enemies of galactic progress. My people chose to become enemies. In the military planning room, Captain Neth Gorvak spread maps of the local star systems across a large table. The massive Netherian warrior had scars covering his blue-armored skin, each one a story of battles fought for the Confederation before he learned the truth. General Han, he said in his rumbling voice, I fought in their armies for 50 years. I know how they think and how they fight. President Na Hye-jin joined them via video link from her secure bunker. Her face was pale but determined. Captain Gorvak, how many species have they destroyed? The Netherians' four hands clenched into fists. Hundreds, maybe thousands. They do not just kill the adults. They destroy the children, the babies, even the unborn. They burn the world so nothing can ever live there again. Why? President Na Hye-jin asked. Because they are afraid, Captain Neth Gorvak replied. They know that young species often grow up to be stronger than their parents. They have seen it happen before. So now they kill potential threats before they can become real threats. General Han Woo-jin studied the tactical displays. What about Earth? Why did they not try to destroy us years ago? You were too far away and you stayed isolated. They planned to deal with humans eventually, but you were not a priority. Now that you are protecting refugees, you have become dangerous to them. The truth was even worse than anyone had imagined. Through captured Confederation communication systems, Earth's intelligence teams learned about something called the Final Protocol. It was a plan to wipe out every remaining young species in the galaxy within the next 100 years. Dr. Yoon So-young reviewed the intercepted files with growing horror. The list of targeted species was enormous. Some were just learning to make fire. Others had developed basic space travel. All of them were scheduled for extinction. They are not just evil, she told General Han Woo-jin during their emergency meeting. They are systematic. They have turned genocide into a science. Admiral Cho Byung-soo joined the discussion from his flagship. General, our defense preparations are almost complete. The new ships are ready for testing. How many do we have? General Han Woo-jin asked. 50 of the new hybrid fighters and 10 large battleships. Not much against their fleet, but they have never faced technology like this. The hybrid ships were marvels of combined engineering. Human creativity had merged with alien expertise to create vessels unlike anything in the known galaxy. They were powered by Vosian energy systems, armored with Netherian metal, and coordinated through luminal communication networks. Commander Oh Min-ho had volunteered to pilot the first test flight. The young pilot had worked closely with alien engineers to understand the new systems. When his ship lifted off from the lunar surface, it moved like liquid light. Control, this is incredible. His voice crackled over the radio. The ship responds to my thoughts before I even touch the controls. That is luminal integration, Lyra Nim explained from the ground. Your mind and the ship become partners. The test was interrupted when Confederation scouts approached the solar system's edge. Commander Oh Min-ho found himself face to face with 3 enemy vessels. "Control, I have contact," he reported. "They are scanning me." "Get out of there, Commander," Admiral Cho Byung-soo ordered. But Commander Oh Min-ho had a better idea. His hybrid ship accelerated to impossible speeds, dancing around the scout ships like a butterfly around sleeping giants. Before they could react, he had scanned their systems and disappeared back toward Earth. "Control, you need to see this data," he said when he landed. "Their ships are old and slow compared to ours. They have been using the same technology for centuries because they never needed to improve it." General Han Woo-jin smiled for the first time in days. They have been winning through numbers and fear, not superior technology. That evening, President Na Hye-jin addressed the combined human and alien populations in a historic broadcast. "My friends, both human and alien, we have learned terrible truths about our galaxy. The Confederation is not a force for order and peace. They are murderers on a scale that defies imagination." She paused, letting her words sink in. "They demand that we surrender beings who refuse to participate in genocide. They threaten to destroy our world if we do not comply. To them I say this. If standing against the murder of innocents makes us criminals, then we are proud to be criminals." Cheers erupted in every human city and alien settlement. People who had been afraid now felt angry and determined. "Tomorrow they will come for us," President Na Hye-jin continued. "They expect to find a weak, scared planet that will surrender at the first sign of trouble. Instead, they will find Earth, a world that has learned the most important lesson in the universe, that good people must stand together against evil, no matter the cost." In the depths of space, Admiral Zek Morvain received reports of Earth's defiant broadcast. He laughed coldly as he reviewed the intelligence about human military capabilities. "Primitives with crude weapons," he told his officers. "We will crush them in hours and take the criminals back for proper punishment." He had no idea that the primitives had spent 6 months learning from the most advanced refugees in the galaxy. He was about to discover that Earth was not the helpless world he expected. The Confederation fleet began its final approach toward Earth. The battle for the future of the galaxy was about to begin. The battle began at dawn on Earth's eastern hemisphere. Admiral Zek Morvain's fleet moved in perfect formation, their massive ships blocking out the stars as they approached Earth's orbital defenses. Captain Park Soo-jin stood on the bridge of the ESS New Hope, Earth's flagship. Around her, human and alien crew members worked side by side at their stations. Dr. Yoon So-young had installed Vossian energy systems throughout the ship, while Netherian engineers had reinforced the hull with their incredible metals. "Captain, enemy fleet is in weapons range," reported her tactical officer. "All stations report ready," Park Soo-jin said calmly. "Luminal communications are active. Every ship in our fleet can coordinate perfectly." Through her speakers, she heard the confident voice of Admiral Zek Morvain. "Surrender now, humans, and we will make your deaths quick." Park Soo-jin picked up her microphone. "This is Captain Park Soo-jin of Earth Defense Force. You want our friends? Come and take them." The Confederation fleet opened fire first. Massive energy beams lanced toward Earth's defense platforms. But the platforms did not explode as expected. Instead, they absorbed the energy and redirected it back at the attackers. "Impossible," Admiral Zek Morvain shouted. "Their defenses should not be able to handle our weapons." On one of the orbital platforms, tactician Voss Lyran worked frantically at her control station. The elderly Vossian had helped design the energy absorption systems. Her gray skin glowed brighter as she concentrated on managing the massive power flows. "Human engineers increase output by 30%, she called to her team. "Their weapons are stronger than we expected, but we can handle it." The human technicians trusted her completely. Over the past months, they had learned that Vossian science could do things that seemed like magic. Together, they turned the Confederation's own weapons against them. In the fighter bays, Commander Oh Min-ho climbed into his hybrid fighter. The ship looked like a work of art. Human design merged with alien technology into something beautiful and deadly. As he lifted off, 50 other hybrid fighters rose with him. "Dragon Squadron, this is Lead," he said over the radio. "Remember what we learned in training. These ships are faster and smarter than anything they have ever seen." The hybrid fighters moved like schools of fish, darting between the massive Confederation ships. Their luminal communication systems let them coordinate perfectly, while their Netherian armor protected them from enemy fire. When they fired back, their Vossian-powered weapons cut through enemy shields like paper. Admiral Zek Morvain watched his scanner in disbelief. "What are these ships? They move like nothing in our databases." His fleet had expected to fight primitive human technology. Instead, they faced weapons and tactics that combined the best of 4 different species. The Confederation had grown lazy over centuries of easy victories. They had never learned to adapt or improve. On the lunar surface, War Chief Neth Targon led ground defense forces as Confederation troops attempted to land. The massive Netherian warrior carried weapons forged from his people's traditional metals, but enhanced with human engineering and Vossian power systems. Commander Kim Tae-wan fought beside him, his human squad equipped with armor that blended technologies from all 3 refugee species. The young officer had learned Netherian fighting techniques, but he still fought with human tactical thinking. "War Chief, they are landing in Sector 7, Kim Tae-wan reported. "Good," Neth Targon rumbled. "Let them come. They expect to face scared refugees and primitive humans. Instead, they find warriors fighting for their families." The Confederation ground troops were shocked by what they encountered. Human soldiers moved with alien discipline and strength. Netherian warriors fought with human tactical awareness. Vossian scientists turned the battlefield itself into a weapon, using their energy manipulation to create barriers and traps. Young Jackson Keth had his first real battle that day. The Netherian teenager fought beside his adopted human family, his natural strength enhanced by human equipment and training. When Confederation soldiers tried to capture refugee children, they found themselves facing a very angry young warrior who had already lost one family and would not lose another. "You want to hurt children?" Jackson Keth roared as he charged into a group of enemy soldiers. "Then you face me first." The battle in space was turning in Earth's favor, but Admiral Zek Morvain had one more trick to play. His flagship was equipped with weapons designed to destroy entire planets. If he could not capture the criminals, he would ensure that Earth could never protect anyone again. "Charge the planet killer," he ordered his crew. "If these humans want to play heroes, let them die as heroes." The massive weapon began to glow with terrible energy. Captain Park Soo-jin saw it on her scanners and felt her blood turn cold. "The weapon could crack Earth like an egg. All ships focus fire on their flagship," she ordered. But the Confederation flagship was too well protected. Earth's weapons could not penetrate its shields in time. That was when Lyra Nim made her choice. The luminal being had been coordinating communications for the entire battle, but now she saw a different way to help. "Human friends," her musical voice said over all communications. "We luminals can become pure energy when we choose. Most of the time we return to our crystal forms. But sometimes we choose not to return." "Lyra Nim, no," Dr. Yoon So-young cried from her station. "Tell my people that I chose to save children instead of destroying them," Lyra Nim replied. "That is a good way to end a life." The luminal being dissolved into pure light and streaked toward the Confederation flagship. Her energy form passed through their shields as if they did not exist. When she reached the planet killer weapon, she released all of her life force at once. The explosion was visible from Earth's surface. The Confederation flagship split in half, its terrible weapon destroyed before it could fire. "Lyra Nim," Commander Kim Tae-wan shouted, but his friend was gone. The battle turned into a rout after that. Without their flagship and planet-killer weapon, the Confederation fleet found itself outmatched by Earth's hybrid technology. Admiral Zek Morvain tried to retreat, but Captain Park Soo-jin had other plans. "This is for Lyra Nim," she said as her ship's weapons locked onto the fleeing enemy commander. Admiral Zek Morvain's ship was destroyed as it tried to escape. The rest of his fleet scattered, running for the edge of the solar system. In the aftermath, Captain Park Soo-jin walked through the halls of her damaged ship. Human and alien crew members worked together to repair systems and tend to the wounded. The sight filled her with both pride and sadness. Commander Oh Min-ho found her in the observation deck, looking out at the debris field that had once been the Confederation's mighty fleet. "Captain, the final count is in," he reported. "We destroyed 18 of their ships and damaged 12 others. Only 5 escaped intact." "And our losses?" Park Soo-jin asked. 3 orbital platforms damaged, 7 fighters destroyed, and... His voice caught. "Lyra Nim." Captain Park Soo-jin nodded silently. The luminal sacrifice had saved not just Earth, But every living thing on the planet, her death had meaning, but that did not make it hurt less. General Han Woo-jin's voice came over the ship's communication system. Attention all personnel. The Confederation fleet has been defeated, Earth remains free, and our refugee friends remain safe. Cheers erupted throughout the ship and across the solar system, but the celebration was mixed with grief for those who had died, especially Lyra Nim. That evening, humans and aliens gathered in memorial services across Earth and its space stations. President Na Hye-jin spoke for everyone when she said, "Today we learned that freedom is not free. It costs courage, sacrifice, and sometimes lives, but it is worth the price because without freedom, we are not truly alive." War Chief Neth Targon stood with Commander Kim Tae-won and young Jackson Keth at one of the memorial services. The three warriors from different worlds had fought side by side and survived. "Commander," Neth Targon said quietly, "your people fought well today. You have earned the respect of all Netherians." Kim Tae-won looked at his alien friends and felt something he had never expected. He felt proud to be part of something larger than just humanity. "We all fought well," he replied. "Human, Netherian, Vasian, and Luminal. We are stronger together than any of us could be alone." The battle was over, but the war for the galaxy's future had just begun. 1 year had passed since the Battle of Sol. Ambassador Kang Mira walked through the Great Assembly Hall on Luna Station, looking at the representatives from 15 different worlds. What had started as a desperate refuge for 3 alien species had grown into something no one had imagined possible. The hall buzzed with dozens of different languages, but everyone could understand each other through the translation systems developed by combining human computers with luminal communication technology. Species that had never met before were sharing ideas and building friendships. "Ambassador Kang," called a voice behind her. She turned to see Zira Voss approaching with a data pad in her hands. The Vossian scientist looked healthier and happier than she had ever been during those first desperate months. "The morning reports," Zira Voss said with what humans had learned was a Vossian smile. "3 more systems have declared independence from the Confederation. The people of Kepler 438b sent a message specifically thanking Earth for showing them that resistance was possible." Kang Mira felt warmth in her chest. Each liberation was a victory, but also a reminder of how much work remained. "What about the Arcturus system? Any word from Commander Shin Haiwan's mission there? She should be arriving any moment," Zira Voss replied. As if summoned by their conversation, the great doors of the assembly hall opened. Commander Shin Haiwan strode in, still wearing her battle armor and looking tired but victorious. Behind her came a group of beings that no human had ever seen before. Tall, thin creatures with silver skin and 3 eyes that sparkled like diamonds. The hall fell silent as everyone watched the newcomers. This was always an emotional moment. The first time rescued species saw the alliance that would protect them. "Friends," Commander Shin Haiwan announced, "may I present the Trilary people of the Arcturus system. They were scheduled for extermination next week, but now they are free." The largest of the silver beings stepped forward. When she spoke, her voice sounded like bells ringing in crystal caves. "I am Speaker Vel Shirani of the Trilari. We had given up all hope. Our children were hiding in caves waiting to die. Then your ships appeared in our skies like angels of light." Ambassador Kang Mi-ra felt tears in her eyes. This was the 15th species that Earth's liberation fleets had saved. Each rescue mission grew easier as their technology improved and their fleet expanded. Director Lee Jun-seo joined them from his research station near Jupiter. The brilliant scientist had been working non-stop to combine technologies from all the Alliance species. His latest breakthrough had been something called probability shields, defensive systems that could actually predict where enemy weapons would strike. "Ambassador, you need to see the latest intelligence reports," he said quietly. "The Confederation is not just angry about our rescues. They are starting to panic." They moved to a private meeting room where General Han Woo-jin waited with Captain Park Soo-jin. The military leaders looked serious as they reviewed star charts showing Confederation territory. "The liberation of 15 systems has created a problem for them," General Han Woo-jin explained. "Other species are seeing that resistance is possible. We estimate that over 50 worlds are now questioning Confederation rule." Captain Park Soo-jin added, "Our intelligence network, mostly luminal volunteers, reports that Confederation military forces are spread thin trying to prevent more rebellions. They are losing control of their empire. Ambassador Kang Mira studied the charts. Red dots showed Confederation strongholds, while blue dots marked liberated or rebellious systems. The blue was spreading like ripples in a pond. They know that Earth is the center of this resistance, she said. What are they planning to do about it? Director Lee Jun-seo activated a holographic display. According to our spies, they are gathering the largest fleet in galactic history. Every Confederation world has been ordered to contribute ships and soldiers. They call it the Final Solution Fleet. The name sent chills through everyone in the room. They all remembered the horror of learning about the Confederation's genocide campaigns. How long do we have? General Han Woo-jin asked. 6 months, maybe less, Captain Park Soo-jin replied. But we are not the same alliance they fought a year ago. Our technology has advanced dramatically, and our fleet has grown to over 500 ships. In the engineering sections of Luna Station, amazing things were happening every day. Human creativity was combining with alien expertise to create technologies that seemed like magic. Ships could now travel between star systems in days instead of months. Weapons could strike targets light years away with perfect accuracy. Communication networks connected every Alliance world instantly. Commander Kim Tae-won, now promoted to Admiral, oversaw the training of mixed-species military units. His friendship with Jackson Keth had become a model for human-alien cooperation. The young Netherian, now a respected warrior leader, commanded a battalion that included humans, Vossians, and members of 5 other rescued species. Admiral Kim, Jackson Keth reported during their daily meeting, the new recruits from the Trilari system are amazing. They can see things that our sensors miss. Their 3 eyes let them track multiple targets simultaneously. And the Helix people from Proxima Centauri? Admiral Kim Tae-won asked. Their shape-changing abilities make them perfect for special operations. They can look like any species when needed. Every rescued race brought new capabilities to the Alliance. The Confederation had destroyed species for being different. But Earth celebrated those differences and found ways to use them as strengths. Dr. Yoon So-young, now head of the Alliance Science Council, made a discovery that changed everything. While studying old Confederation databases, she found something that explained their fear of young species. Look at this, she told the council leaders during an emergency meeting. The Confederation races are not naturally superior. They are actually quite ordinary. But they discovered something called the Evolution Suppression Protocol millions of years ago. She displayed ancient star charts showing the galaxy as it had been eons ago. Young species naturally develop faster and become more advanced than their elders. It is the way of nature. Children grow up to surpass their parents. The Confederation prevented this by killing young races before they could reach maturity. Ambassador Kang Mira felt pieces clicking together in her mind. So they are not super advanced beings. They are just very old races that have been preventing others from growing. Exactly, Dr. Yoon So-young confirmed. And now that prevention is breaking down. The Alliance represents what the galaxy should have been. Multiple species growing and learning together instead of being held back by fear. The discovery was shared with every Alliance world. The message was clear. They were not fighting against superior beings, but against old ones who had forgotten how to grow and change. President Na Hye-jin, now in her 2nd term, addressed the Alliance from Earth's capital. Her words were broadcast to every liberated world and every resistance cell in Confederation space. My friends across the galaxy, she began, we stand at a moment of choice. The old empire of fear is gathering its strength for one final assault on freedom. They bring numbers and ancient weapons. But we bring something they have forgotten. Hope. She paused, looking directly into the cameras that would carry her words to billions of beings. 1 year ago, 3 refugee ships asked Earth for help. We could have turned them away and lived safely in our isolation. Instead, we chose to stand with the outcasts and the refugees. That choice has led us here, to the moment when the galaxy itself chooses between freedom and slavery. In the weeks that followed, Alliance fleets prepared for the greatest battle in galactic history. But they were not preparing alone. Secret messages arrived daily from Confederation worlds offering support and information. The empire that had once seemed unshakable was cracking from within. Commander Oh Min-ho, now leading an entire fighter wing, received a message that made him smile. It came from a young pilot on a Confederation world, transmitted through secret luminal networks. Commander, my name is Zach Velen. I'm 17 years old and I have been watching your battles on hidden broadcasts. When the war comes to my system, I want to defect and join your forces. You have shown us that young species do not have to bow to the old ones forever. Similar messages came from across the galaxy. The Alliance was not just rescuing species, it was inspiring them to rescue themselves. As the final solution fleet gathered in deep space, Alliance Command made their own preparations. The combined wisdom of 16 species had created weapons and strategies that the Confederation could not imagine. But more importantly, they had created something that no weapon could defeat. A shared belief that all intelligent life deserved the chance to grow, learn, and reach for the stars. Ambassador Kang Mira stood in the Great Assembly Hall one final time before the coming battle. Representatives from every Alliance world were present, either in person or through holographic projection. "Friends," she said, "tomorrow we face the largest fleet ever assembled. They come to destroy us because they fear what we represent, the idea that the galaxy belongs to all its children, not just the oldest ones." She looked around the hall at faces both human and alien, all united by common purpose.